Hey everyone, it's March Madness time and we've got NCAA tournament action starting in earnest tomorrow, which means you can join our bracket challenge. Got to get those brackets done quickly though because it starts tomorrow at noon. Men's and women's brackets, you can find information for that in our show notes or keep up with us on Instagram or Twitter and you can access the information there. On today's episode, we will be discussing the NCAA tournament and our brackets a little bit, as well as the conclusion of the World Baseball Classic, and we'll also finish off our previews of the American League and National League Easts for Major League Baseball's upcoming season. Stay tuned. Episode of the Sports Ballers Podcast. My name is Eric. I'm joined by Corey and Evan. As always, fellas, how are we feeling on this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm ready for the weather to start getting a little warmer again tomorrow because these last 2 days have sucked.
Yeah, me too. I'm doing fine. Just, remind Punxsutawney Phil that the 6 more weeks of winter expired yesterday. So...
well, we are getting a little bit warmer tomorrow.
Let's hope so.
And hopefully it'll be here to stay. We should have some 50s and 60s coming up soon, which...
isn't that warm either.
60s is good, and
It's
50s is a
warmer.
heck of a lot better than 30s.
I would gladly take 50s and 60s over what we've had. But anyway, along with hopefully some better weather, March also brings us March Madness.
Woo!
We've got the NCAA tournaments coming up starting tomorrow on the men's side. So let's start there because we've all filled out our brackets, or at least Corey and I have. I think Evan might be working on his right now. So,
I am. We're doing it right now.
So we'll give him a moment
do it
or
live.
several to get his stuff together. So we kind of wanted to talk about just some highlights of our own brackets, upsets we might have picked, deeper runs than expected, and of course we'll point out our Final Four teams and our eventual champions in our brackets as well. So Corey, let me get started with you then. How did your bracket shake out?
Pretty chalky overall. I do have 3 double-digit seeds making it into the second round on the men's side, but I don't have any of them making it to the Sweet 16. So I don't have any standard Cinderellas, but my 3 upsets on the men's side that I'll highlight are I have High Point, who's a 12 seed, beating number 5 Wisconsin. I've got number 11 Texas over number 6 BYU. Texas just played in the first 4 yesterday. And then I've got number 10 Santa Clara over number 7 Kentucky, which I think a lot of people might be surprised by because there's been a lot of talk about Calipari and Patino and how good of seasons their teams had and how well they did as coaches this year. But I don't think Kentucky is as good as some people are trying to suggest they might be. Calipari's not at Kentucky.
No, he's
anymore.
not. And,
I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway.
That's
yeah,
why I was giving you a look.
yeah.
I was like, Corey, you can save this anytime.
Oh, okay.
In any case, no, I'm not that impressed with Kentucky with their resume and some of their analytics. So I'm going to Santa Clara with a little bit of an upset there.
Yeah, so I guess my definition of an upset is different than most. Like I kind of consider if you're an at-large team in the first round, I don't really believe you can really pull a significant quote-unquote upset.
That's fair.
Like a 6 over an 11 to me isn't that big of an upset. Like that's
You mean the other way around, 11 over 6?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that doesn't really obviously a 6 over 11 is not an upset because it's the presumably favorite.
You're
team.
Thinking of like a mid-major school
somebody
getting an upset over one of the Power 5
bid,
conferences.
Because to me, if you are an 11 seed, you're one of the top 40 teams in the country, probably, right? In that range. Yeah. And the 6 seed is like a top 25-ish. So how much better is an 11 or a 6 versus an 11 anyway? It's not that big of a gap. Whereas like the drop off supposedly is the 12 through 16.
Right. And so from that standpoint, High Point is really my one significant upset.
Yeah. But I did also have, that's why I'm prefacing this. I didn't count it as an upset, but I do have Texas beating BYU as well.
Okay.
But I also have my quote unquote upset is to kind of piggyback off of your Calipari talking point is I have Hawaii beating Arkansas in the first round.
Okay, yeah.
And that's kind of really all I have as like a shock value. Is this going to happen type of upset?
Yeah, I didn't go that route. I did give some consideration to Hawaii. I definitely like some of their metrics, but I'm concerned over the quality of the wins that they had and whether that's actually going to stack up. But I mean, they're definitely a team that if they beat Arkansas, I would not be shocked.
Yeah. Evan, are you still plugging away here?
No. I got my men's bracket up.
Alrighty.
You just want the double-digit seeds that win in the first round?
If you've got them, sure.
I do have them. 12-seeded Northern Iowa over St. John's for
Wow.
no reason whatsoever.
That would be a pretty big upset.
Upsetting
St.
from my
John's
bracket,
is
too,
very
yeah.
good. Do you have them going? I guess we'll find out shortly,
Yeah,
potentially.
I'm dropping some hints here, but yeah.
South Florida beating Louisville for
I gave
Okay.
them a
reason
look,
whatsoever.
Okay.
UCF over UCLA. They're a 10.
I picked that one too, yeah.
Troy over Nebraska. Nebraska, not a basketball school.
They've never won an NCAA tournament game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I think it's going to get a little tight sphincter time for them, and they get bounced by Troy, and Texas A&M is a 10 seed. I got them, and that is
You got quite a few
Oh, no.
double-digit seeds winning. I literally have those three that I
okay.
named.
14th seed Wright State over Virginia.
What?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
See,
get 'em out of here.
I don't think this is a year that Virginia is likely to get upset early because in the past, Virginia has been defense and zero offense. Now they're defense and very good offense.
No, Tony Bennett's not the coach anymore. It's a
Right.
new
Like
coaching
Virginia is
staff, so-
actually a well-rounded, like high-quality team now.
Okay. Well, I don't
So
like 'em,
that
so
would
get 'em out of
that
here.
would shock me.
Evan is picking with his hearts because
Yeah, that's fair,
It's
that's
hard
fine.
to pick with your head when you don't really watch any games.
Even if I did watch the games and picked with my head, it'd still be wrong anyway.
All right,
That's
so
probably
Eric,
true.
what's your definition of a Cinderella?
Okay, a Cinderella to me is, I guess it depends on how deep the Cinderella goes. Like obviously, I think if like a 12 seed and below even makes a Sweet 16, I consider that a bit of a Cinderella run.
Okay.
But if you're in the bottom half of the seeding and you make a Final Four, I consider that to be usually a Cinderella run. There are
Okay.
exceptions.
Would you consider an 8 seed in the Final Four a Cinderella? Or do you have that cutoff with the 9?
I think there's a context here. Like, because a couple years ago, we watched the 7 and 8 play each other in the championship, but it was Kentucky and UConn. Those are not
They're blue
Cinderellas.
blood
yeah,
schools,
So,
okay.
so there's kind of a gray area there in a sliding scale, but yeah, I would say generally speaking, if you are, even an 8 seed making a Final Four run, I would say.
Because you had to go through a 1 seed very early in the tournament, most
Assume-
likely.
unless
Assuming
the-
that the
unless
1
they're
seed did not
Purdue
somehow
or Virginia,
right.
yeah.
Right. All right, so under my column for men's deepest Cinderellas, the lowest seed I have in the Sweet 16 are 2 6 seeds, and those are Louisville and Tennessee. So I have no true Cinderellas.
No Cinderellas, yeah. I guess the closest thing you could call for me a Cinderella, which is absolutely not a Cinderella, is I have St. John's making the Final Four, which I alluded to when Evan eliminated them in the first round. So,
And what seed is St. John's again?
They're 5.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so which wouldn't be unprecedented at all
No.
for a 5 seed, especially
Indiana was a 5 seed when they lost to Maryland in the championship back in
That
2002.
is facts, and also they're coached by Rick Pitino, who is a legend.
Yep.
So he's had his share of success in this tournament. He's had his share of success at like 6 million different schools, which is both impressive and an indictment because he's this great coach that somehow keeps getting fired because he keeps doing stupid stuff or bad stuff. But
Georgia Tech should hire him.
Now, Evan, your first round at least seems much less chalky than Eric's and mine.
Yeah.
So do you have any true Cinderellas in your bracket?
Well, in the Sweet 16, I got 12 seed Northern Iowa
Okay.
making it that deep, but then no other double-digit seeds in here. 6 seed Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah, I've
in
got
the
them in the
Sweet
Sweet 16.
16.
All right. All right, so Final Fours then?
sure.
All right.
Who do you got, Evan? Do you got Final Four?
Yes.
What do you got?
UConn, Houston, BYU, and Alabama.
We have 0 in common, Evan.
I mean,
So that'll be interesting. I have Duke over Illinois, and I have Michigan over Arizona in my Final Four.
Okay.
So a 1, a 3, and another couple ones.
So I obviously don't have Duke in my Final Four because I have St. John's in the same region. I have Houston and St. John's playing each other in the Final Four.
Okay.
And then on the other side, I believe I had Michigan and Arizona.
Yeah,
So,
same as me
so that
on that
tracks.
side. Okay.
And so that's my Final Four. And I guess I'll just jump to it. I picked Houston to win it all. That's my champion.
Okay. Over Michigan or Arizona?
Over Arizona.
Okay.
I picked UConn over Alabama.
And I picked Michigan over Duke.
Ugh, jeez.
That's a brutal game to watch. I don't want to watch it. Well, and the thing is, my perspective on all these Big Ten teams is, did Maryland play them, which is for all of them, yes. And did we compete with them? And if we did, that means I'm not picking you to go very far. Because, Iowa, we beat them soundly.
No.
You can't have that.
I don't have Iowa going that deep.
Yeah, anybody that we beat, and Michigan, we played them well at home, until our best player got hurt. We were up by 9 in the second half of that game.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
let me clarify. We were up by 9. Our best player was injured at that point, and then our second best player got kicked out of the game for picking up a second technical. So then the wheels fell off. So yeah.
All right. So let's move over to the women's side.
Yeah, I did not pick hardly any upsets here, so I'm gonna let you just go first.
Okay. So I have literally 3 lower seeds beating higher seeds in my entire first round.
Okay.
I only have 3. So I have number 11, South Dakota State, over number 6, Washington.
Okay.
I've got number 10, Villanova, over number 7, Texas Tech. And I've got number 9, Southern Cal, over number 8, Clemson. Those are my 3.
8, 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, mine's pretty chalky too, so I wasn't even gonna bother with picking upsets because I don't think I picked any significant ones. I picked the Terps to win their first game because they're a 5 seed.
Yeah.
And I expect that to happen. I think I might have picked them to go to the Sweet 16.
I have Maryland and Michigan State as 5 seeds in my Sweet 16, and I have nobody lower than a 5 in my Sweet 16.
Pretty much. So, Evan, anything interesting on the ladies' side?
Let's see. I mean, South Dakota State over Washington. UVA and ASU, whoever wins that game, beating Georgia. Get them out of here.
Okay.
No,
Some cojones to pick that before you even know who the first 4 winner is.
It's Georgia. He's going to pick against them no matter
They
what.
got to go. College of Charleston over Duke. Get them out of here.
CSU.
Okay.
Miami, Ohio over West Virginia. And that's it.
All right. Final
let's
fours,
do
I
Final
guess,
Fours.
and just jump to that because
Again,
none of us really have any Cinderellas. Like I said,
it's
I have a
usually
couple
like
5s
this.
in my Sweet
Yeah.
16, and that's it.
You've seen a little bit more upset action on the ladies' side in the last decade or so, but still not much. It's still pretty chalky. So, I hate doing this even with the women's tournament where the 1 seeds are usually super dominant. I picked all 1 seeds to make the Final Four.
Okay,
And
I didn't quite do that.
And I
didn't
didn't do it on purpose. So I got to the end where I noticed, all of them are 1 seeds. I'm like, but I'm not gonna go back and change it based off of, well, I can't have all 1 seeds in there. I made the picks based off of what I thought was gonna happen.
And trying to say there's not going to be all 1 seeds. I mean, it's probably correct, but are you going to get the right
chances
one that's
are you're
not
gonna,
there?
Yeah. It's like it's like when people insist on trying to snipe the 5-12 upset. I'm like,
Yeah.
either pick it if you believe it. Don't just pick one because one of them's got to happen. Well, then pick all 4 and be wrong 3 times. I don't know what to tell you. So.
Yeah. So my Final Four is 1 UConn over 1 South Carolina, and on the other side, number 1 Texas over number 2 LSU.
Okay, so you have LSU getting there. Okay.
All right, we have the same Final Four, Corey.
Oh, wow. Do you have the same winners, UConn and Texas?
No, I picked South Carolina and LSU.
Oh, so we are head-to-head in that Final Four. Okay.
Yeah, I picked South Carolina as my champion.
So did I.
I picked UConn.
All right. I know how much you love UConn women's basketball, Corey. It's your favorite.
They grew on me a little bit with Paige Beckers, but now that she's gone, I really don't care about UConn women's basketball anymore.
But you picked them to win it all. So.
I did pick them to win it all, so I'll be caring about them for the next 3 weeks.
All right, well, there you have it. That is our NCAA tournament talk. We've got a lot of other stuff to get to, but
I do have one quick thing, or
Corey's
maybe
got
2
thoughts.
quick things. So 1, 2026 Duke is 2002 University of Maryland. Even though I didn't pick them to win at all.
Talk about men or women?
They're men. They're playing Siena in the first round in the 116 game.
That's a thing.
And the East Regional semifinals and finals are in D.C.
Well, okay.
The exact same setup that Maryland had, and UConn is the 2 seed in their bracket in their region.
Okay.
Just saying, it's very similar.
Well, I don't have them getting that far, so
The other thing that I wanted to point out just very quickly, the number of teams that neither Rashonda nor I had ever heard of before Selection Sunday. Cal Baptist? Who is Cal Baptist?
I don't know.
Who is Wright State?
I've heard of them.
Who is Queens in North Carolina?
What?
Okay, I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
thought that
Queens
was in New
University. That was not New York.
It wasn't
They're
New
in
York?
Charlotte.
Oh, in the Queen City.
I guess that tracks, yeah.
And
You were just there.
has
Yes.
I guess Kennesaw State was in the tournament a couple years ago. That was random. But Long Island University?
I've heard of
I've heard
Rashonda
of
is
them.
from Connecticut. She's never heard of Long Island University.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well,
So just very, very interesting.
get your name out there,
Yeah,
y'all.
some teams that I am not familiar with from an NCAA tournament standpoint at all.
Well, welcome to the party.
Yeah, welcome to them.
Alrighty, so let's move on let's talk World Baseball Classic because that just wrapped up yesterday. The United States made it to the finals after winning a very close, very cool game to watch against the Dominican Republic, but then fell short and lost 3-2 to Team Venezuela to lose the championship, and the gold goes to Venezuela. Interestingly, a couple months after we
I was just going to
snatched
say
up their president and his wife.
blame Donald Trump for that.
Yeah.
They had something to play for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of Venezuelans were happy we did that. They don't like Maduro for obvious reasons. He's bad.
Oh, so it
he's a
raised
bad
morale.
person. Yeah, we raised morale.
Still Trump's
So
fault.
you just blame it on Trump. Okay. But anyway, I watched both games at least on the U.S. side. I did not get a chance to watch Italy versus Venezuela in the other semifinal. But yeah, I mean, Paul Skeens started the game against the Dominican Republic. He gave up 1 run because he's Paul Skeens. That's what he does. And then our guy Gunnar Henderson, who got the spot start because apparently he's the utility guy on the team instead of just being like one of the 3 best players in the world. Like, God forbid, he just plays third base all the time instead of Alex Bregman. He hits the game-tying home run. Roman Anthony hits the go-ahead home run. And the United States holds on. Pitching dominates the rest of the way. Kind of got lucky in the 9th inning. Mason Miller was on to close it out. The tying run was on third base, and he earned a strike 3 call on a full count that was well below the strike zone. And had that been played in a major league game this year, would have almost certainly been challenged, and it would have been a successful challenge, and it resulted in a walk with Fernando Tatis Jr. in the on-deck circle in that moment. So pretty fortunate for the United States, but then luck ran out against Venezuela.
Yeah. I wanted to see Gunnar in the championship game starting, but that didn't happen. Had to get Bregman in there because he's a righty.
He's a righty
against Orioles legend Eduardo Rodriguez, I believe.
Yeah, Erod was pitching. Yeah.
Venezuela had all the juice in this tournament, and good for them.
Yeah, they were great. Acuna's great.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of talent out of Venezuela, and obviously
I saw Miguel Cabrera on
he
TV
was like
last
the
night.
manager or something.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, that's Miggy. What's going on? But yeah, he was there, and I root for the United States pretty much unconditionally in international competition. But man, our team was annoying this year. Like their whole
this year?
the whole attitude. I mean,
Where was Ian Kinsler?
even beyond the Ian Kinsler, we play the game a certain way here in America or whatever. Just the over the top jingoism with a bunch of baseball players. The obsession with trying to resemble the military. We're doing salutes in the outfield. We've got some, former Navy SEAL turned right wing grifter doing pregame speeches because Mark DeRosa called him in. You got half the team saying we're playing for the troops. I'm like, you're playing baseball. Like, you're representing the United States, not just the United States military. I got Cal Raleigh wearing a Claymore shirt that says front toward enemy because it has to remind soldiers, don't point it this way or else the stuff will shoot at you and blow you up. And he was wearing a t-shirt with that on it. Meanwhile, not shaking any of his teammates' hands, just acting like a huge dick the entire time. And then playing like crap, too. Cal Raleigh was awful in this tournament, and
Big dumper.
yeah, Big Dumper was just he refused
Big dump.
refused to shake hands with Josh Naylor, set off a firestorm because he didn't do it with Randy Arozarena early in the tournament, and just I found that to be completely unbecoming because everybody else, all these other countries, are going head to head with
And
a
they're
bunch
having
of
fun.
bunch of major leaguers, and they're on teams or have been on teams or are friends from their days playing professional baseball, and they acted like it. We didn't. And I was like, what are we doing? We're not going off to war here, guys. We're playing baseball.
Yeah.
Just play baseball.
This is man hit ball with stick and run in circle. Right? Like it's not that big a deal, guys. Like, let's have a little fun. This is an exhibition tournament.
Yeah, I found the whole attitude bizarre. And again, I don't have a problem with any player that wants to play the game a certain way. Like you hit a home run, if you just want to, drop the bat and run in a circle, fine,
Sure.
Like you do you. I don't want anybody to fake it. I don't want
Yeah.
you to pretend like you're that excited and you did a bat flip. If that's not how you get down, great. And I agree. There is something to be said about somebody who just who keeps all his crazy inside. Sometimes it's a little worrisome.
Yeah.
But it adds a little bit of an aura to you if you can pull it off. Not everybody has to flip a bat. But sometimes somebody needs to flip a bat and have some fun. At least look like you enjoy yourself out there and you're having a good time and you understand that this is ultimately fun.
There's
Yeah,
hardware
even
on the
even a
line
lot of
as well.
people who don't
Right.
bat flip, you can still tell if they're having fun. Nick Swisher was never the kind of guy who did like crazy bat flips, but you could tell he loved being out there every day.
Because he was smiling all the time. I mean, Gunnar Henderson didn't do an elaborate bat flip on his home run, but you could tell he was jacked up that he hit that home run because Gunnar is a psycho, and I love him for that.
Yeah. If I ever hit a home run playing Major League Baseball, I'm flipping the bat into right field. Okay? That's how excited I'm going to be.
We used to be called out for throwing the bat, like you're supposed to just drop the bat because it's a quote-unquote safety issue. So I kind of learned not to flip the bat. It just wasn't in my nature because kids on my team had been called out because they were a little too aggressive with how they discarded their bat while they were running the bases. And I was like, okay, just drop the bat, Eric. Don't get called out
the
for
bat-
something dumb.
Launched.
Yeah, like the one time I caught a hold of one though, I pimped it pretty good. I didn't flip the bat just because it's an aluminum bat, and if I hit somebody that might actually hurt a little bit. Oh, the wood bat will hurt too, but I did stare it down. I stood up there and I just admired it for a second. I was
Hopping like Sammy Sosa and everything.
like, it was. I enjoyed it the way I wanted. I took it all in that moment. It was
Cal
quite
Raleigh
something.
didn't have a single hit in
In
the
the
world
whole tournament?
in the whole World Baseball Classic.
And he also
Batted
had
0-0-0.
He had several.
He had one
Pass
RBI.
batting
Though.
donut.
Yeah, he had an RBI.
I don't care about that. He had several passed balls too. So like we talked about Cal Raleigh regression year when we previewed the Mariners a couple weeks ago, and I said
Might be worse than we thought.
Even if he backslides to just being like the best catcher in baseball by a normal margin, they'll be fine. What if he sucks? Like, what if he just brings so much bad juju to the Mariners in the process and he sinks that team into another 21-year playoff-less streak?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, that's almost kind of sounds pretty good.
Yeah, you wouldn't care anymore.
I actually kind of love it. Like, that's fun.
No playoffs for them until 2047.
It's rough.
It's a little what?
That is quite some time. But do we have anything else on this tournament?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to mention Aaron Judge's 0 for 4.
I mean, well, you just
I
did.
just did.
Yeah,
Can we get a new manager in here, please?
no more D-Row.
I'm done with D-Row after the, assuming that we advanced to the knockout round after winning the first 3 games. Like that's absurd, my guy. It just is. Like you can't.
He was trying to use this as a way to, leapfrog into an actual managerial position in Major League Baseball. That's over.
Oh no.
Like, there's no shot that
Go back to
yeah.
Secaucus and host MLB.
Just be on television
today,
with
MLB
Shahadi and whoever else is on that show.
Roflo.
Yeah, love me some Roflo. Roflo is awesome. All right, let's actually talk Major League Baseball because we've been previewing 2 divisions a week the last couple of weeks. So let's get to the Easts. And since our teams are in the American League East, we're going to start there. We've started with the National League the last couple of weeks, but we're gonna swerve here. However, we are going to start with the division winner from last year, the Toronto Blue Jays, who also won the American League. And they're coming back with a little bit of a revamped team. They lost some key players. They lost Bo Bichette, but they've adequately replaced, and they're ready to go and try to make another run at this thing.
They lost Chris Bassett to the Orioles. Toronto Blue Jays, I believe they have the highest payroll out of the AL East teams, don't they? Like
pretty high,
more than Boston and New York.
Yeah, because they paid Vladdy Jr. a bunch of money, and they shelled out a lot of money for Dylan Cease because they just signed him. They also have paid for quite a few. They got George Springer on the payroll. I mean, he's been there for a few years now, but yeah, they've got a lot of highly paid dudes on that squad.
If I'm a Blue Jays fan, I don't know how I ever watch baseball again. Right? Like,
I don't see how it's worse. Like, how is it worse than that? What happened to them in the World Series?
I mean, the Orioles in the 70s lost Game 7 at home, I think twice, or just once to the Pirates.
I think it was twice, but at least the Orioles had won a World Series recently in that mix. Like, they lost in 71, but they had won in 70, and they'd won in 66, and then they won in 83, right?
Yeah.
The Blue Jays hadn't won in almost 25 years, or longer than that.
Since 1993.
2 years, yeah.
Joe Carter's home run.
Yeah, the last pre-strike World Series. So, it had been a little while. Most Blue Jays fans that are our age, and we're not young gentlemen anymore by any means, most of them, like, I wasn't watching baseball in 1993. I was 2. So I'm sure that anybody our age never remembers the Blue Jays winning anything. So Toronto Blue Jays fans that are basically under 40 never really got to enjoy that, and they thought they were going to multiple times, and then they didn't.
Bichette hit the 3-run homer, and their airplane hangar barn they have up there was going nuts. And I was listening on the radio driving through the middle of nowhere. And it was exciting, and there was fisticuffs, and there was extra innings, and there was reviews and plays at the plate, and the Blue Jays just didn't get it done.
Nope.
That's brutal. So, they have something to play for, obviously, but it's hard to re-roll the stone back up the hill once you got so close and it slipped away.
So the Jays also got Kazuma Okamoto, who chose the Blue Jays in part because his daughter picked their logo as her favorite logo in Major League Baseball. So good for them, I guess. I don't know if she has the best taste, but he's going to be a pretty good third baseman for them. He projects to be a good power hitter. He's hit 25 home runs in almost every season he played over in Japan. He played 11 seasons in Japan, and he's only turning 30 this summer. So he got a pretty early start over there. Losing Bo Bichette, I think, is going to be a bit of a hurt for them. He went to the Mets on a 3-year deal, and then of course Bassett left Toronto for Baltimore. But I mean, this team overall, I think, is going to be every bit as good as it was last year. I think that those losses have been at least offset, if not more than offset, by some of those additions. Eric, you mentioned Dylan Cease, who kind of swaps in for Chris Bassett. I think is probably better than Bassett at this stage in their careers.
Cease got a 7-year deal.
Yeah, and then so him if Gausman and Bieber can bounce back a little bit this year, then I think that this rotation is going to hold its own, and at least you've got 3 out of 5, solid arms in that group, and then the offense is just it was so good last year that even a little bit of a regression is not going to be that big of a issue for them. So. I think the key is going to be seeing if that rotation does take a step forward from last year when they were in the bottom third of baseball.
Yeah, so this team, obviously losing Bo Bichette, big offensive loss, but Bo Bichette was a very poor defensive shortstop. And they've been able to reshuffle their infield so that now their entire defensive organization, outside of maybe Vlad, is very, very strong. So they play excellent defense and they hit.
Yeah.
So even if the starting pitching, isn't quite as good, that defense is going to prevent a lot of runs, and they've got a very strong bullpen as well. This is a top to bottom excellent baseball team, and keep an eye on Trey Savage because he was drafted last year by the Blue Jays, showed up in the postseason. He was one of those guys, and
Started game 1.
yeah, and he dealt. Like he shoved against the
Yeah.
Yankees. Like he's kind of been, I think, lowballed a little bit by 2026 projections just based on the fact that we haven't seen a lot of them. But the talent is very much there, and he figures to be a long-term piece in this rotation. If he continues to build on what he did in October, that could completely change the way we view this team in this rotation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so now let's move to last year's AL East runner-up. Corey, your Yankees, who were a wild-card team. They won their first round against, I forgot, but then they lost to the Blue Jays
They
in
beat the
divisional
Tigers
round.
or the Guardians.
The
probably.
I
Guardians.
think it
No,
was the
no. The Mariners beat the Tigers and I don't remember who did y'all beat?
I think we beat the Guardians.
No, the Tigers beat the Guardians. Tigers beat
What?
the Guardians. I promise you that happened.
Was it the Red
It was
Sox?
the Red
was the
Sox.
Red
It
Sox.
was
There
the
you go.
Red
Yeah,
Sox.
yeah.
Yes, because
All right.
we were down 2-0 and we came back and won
and
3 in a
they
row.
just- yeah,
That's
the Red
right.
Sox
Okay.
couldn't hit. Yep.
Yeah. So
Tell me something.
I don't think we really had a particularly exciting offseason. I think if you had to pick like what was the most exciting offseason move, it might have been signing Cody Bellinger, but that's a re-signing, so it doesn't change anything about who this team is.
It's a big deal, though.
I mean, it is. It absolutely is. And the key to this team, as it has been for the past 3 to 5 years, it's going to be health. Because the thing that tends to trip us up for long stretches during the summer, or that causes us issues in the postseason, is that we get to those stretches hurt. Aaron Judge is missing time. Jazz Chisholm is missing time.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton
At the
is
top of this
always
list.
pulling his hamstring because he decides that he's going to try and run fast when he can't run fast. The rotation should be solid. We got a lot of pieces in there to try and figure out who's going to be our 5 if we're going to go 6. But Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Max Fried, Luis Heel, if he can be healthy and effective like he was a couple of years ago, that's a really strong rotation. I like that rotation. I think that that's a rotation that's going to keep us in games. And then our offense, if healthy, is going to blow the doors open on a lot of teams more often than not. But that's going to be the key for this team, is continuing to be an elite offense. We brought in Ryan Weathers, who adds some depth potentially to the rotation, but he's not a particularly exciting signing. But the people that we lost this offseason, I'm not that bothered by. The most significant names were Luke Weaver and Devin Williams going to the Mets. I am actually happy that we lost both of them, because Devin Williams was horrible last year. Luke Weaver, I think, is a little bit of a loss, but he's not like a huge needle mover anyway. Devin Williams is a needle mover when he's really good, and last year he was a needle mover in the wrong direction because of how freaking awful he was. So,
and y'all scrapped your stupid no beards policy for him, and you stunk the joint out.
I hope we went back. I haven't seen anything about it. I hope we went back to no beards. Please tell me we went back to no beards. This is going to be a solid team that absolutely has the potential to win this division going away if everything goes right. But as we've seen with the Yankees for the past several years, so many things go wrong, and the team remains competitive, but we have not come close to reaching our potential in any of these past several seasons. It's always something that goes wrong.
You won the AL pennant 2 seasons ago.
But that we could have and should have won the World Series that year.
The Dodgers team was a wagon.
Sure,
Yeah.
but we should have been a lot more competitive in that World Series, and I think we should have won it.
Well, it didn't help that you threw Nasty Nestor out there against Freddie Freeman. That was insane. And then the series was over right then and there.
You our longtime listener, whoever that is, remembers Nestor Cortez is your boy. You wanted him to start game 1 over Garrett Cole.
I remember that.
We talked about that for a half hour.
He had an incredible season the year before, so
Yeah. So
Is Garrett what? Well,
yeah. What's Garrett
what
Cole's
about
status?
Garrett Cole?
Yeah.
Right, he just had his arm reassembled. Is he? What's his deal?
My understanding is he gonna be is he healthy opening day? Because I don't think he is.
he I think played yesterday. I think yesterday was his spring debut.
I
So
did
he's not-
see that
so-
on the
so
Yankees
then he's
page.
probably
Or maybe
not, yeah.
today. I think he was supposed to make his debut yesterday, but it wound up being moved to today. But like he's starting that process. That
He pitched
I
today.
highly doubt that he's going to be starting in our rotation.
Well, that would be irresponsible.
Right,
If
if
making
he's
his
just
debut
starting.
today,
So
yeah.
I would say like mid to late April is the soonest, with like a mid to late May target
I would-
being
I would
more
say
likely.
Early May is probably the generous, especially a guy coming off of Tommy John, who's just basically his spring training started.
Yeah, there we go.
6
So
weeks
he
later.
pitched one scoreless inning today against Boston.
Yeah, so I wrote down, Yankees rotation needs Cole, all caps, needs Cole to return to form this year.
Yeah.
If they want to have a chance to win the World Series.
Yeah, but we have enough arms in the rotation that, again, if they stay healthy, we can survive to when
You're
Cole
gonna
comes
win enough
back.
games in the regular season because of your offense.
Yes.
And your bullpens, you mortgaged your whole farm system for a better bullpen. And,
Yeah.
well, you got a good bullpen now because of it. So take advantage of that.
What is the deal with the Yankees and the Red Sox just getting outspent by other teams, right? Because
Well, by other teams, you're really just talking about the Dodgers primarily.
And the Mets.
and the Mets and
Mets
Blue
are
Jays,
crazy, yeah.
right? Like what?
Look at the owners, like that.
That's what I'm asking about, right? Like why? The Yankees and the Red Sox used to be the American League All-Star
So
team.
when I say look at the owners,
And
I'm not
then-
necessarily talking about the Yankees and Red Sox owners. I'm talking about, in particular, the Mets owner is spending irresponsibly. He's paying $1 bajillion for bad players.
Well, he's
like
the
he's
richest
he's
owner in all the
but
sports,
but
isn't he?
he's overpaying players. He's giving them a lot more money than they deserve.
Okay, well,
So like you can't then say like, oh
Go
well, the
join
Yankees need
John
to pay
Henry,
more.
and he
No, like
signed
we don't want those
financial
players. So
flexibility.
let the Mets waste all their money on bad players,
Like
and
Juan
we're
Soto,
going
your
to
boy.
pay like market value for the really good players that we have. The Dodgers are a different story. I can't even begin to explain what the Dodgers are trying to do with like.
Well, what they're trying to do
They're
is
moving
dominate the
they're-
world, and they're
and,
doing it.
and
for
they're
a
doing it, and they're
repeat.
moving all of the money they're paying 20 years down the future, because 20 years from now doesn't exist, and it may not exist at the rate we're going.
And you know what's definitely not going to exist 20 years from now, even if the world doesn't blow up, is Major League Baseball in its current form. Because
Yeah.
the players are going to lock this thing out
Yeah.
in 2027, especially with there is a mutiny in Major League Baseball over what the Dodgers have done. And frankly, the Dodgers, I hate to sound like a spoiled kid or something like that, but they have a better hand than everybody else. They don't have to play by the same rules. They don't have the same revenue sharing plan that everybody else is. Their revenue sharing that they have to contribute is capped. So they get to keep a much bigger percentage of their own earnings compared to everybody else, because they have
to pay Bob Nutting.
it was part of the McCourt deal after he had to sell the team after that disaster. And so it's kind of a carryover for that. So they're kind of playing by different rules than everybody else.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why they could get away with this kind of thing. But it seems like, your boy George Steinbrenner, may he rest in peace, did not care. He spent money because he wanted to win. It seems like his sons are more inclined to play within the bounds of the luxury tax or the competitive balance of tax or whatever the hell they call it nowadays.
Apron.
Which
Right.
is
That's
fine. Like it's not the same Yankees that it was, and the fan base has had to kind of reconcile that in a sense.
no.
But that's my feeling too. It's like, oh no, like we're not winning every single year.
20. These are the same
Okay.
27 rings, people.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, y'all have Aaron Judge. Like that's
We still have a great team.
it. You got Aaron Judge.
We still have a great team that should be extremely competitive, that should be able to win the AL pennant, should be able to win the World Series, if everything goes right. It just hasn't, and it probably won't.
You got to keep Stanton healthy, like you said. You can't be
That ain't
expected to run
happening.
fast. As
Let's
a
move
fellow
on.
35-year-old who tried to do something athletic last week and it didn't go well,
We've got 8 more teams to talk about in the next
Yeah.
20 minutes, so let's move on.
What was that? Anyway.
trying to catch a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah,
tumble.
that's what you did.
Yeah.
I was there. All right, so let's move on to let's just jump to the Orioles because that's what that's who we like. Evan, thoughts on your birds?
I am so excited that Pete Alonso is here. I can't believe it. He's fitting right in. He's gonna hit some dingers, chocolate milk and squats. Might mix in a couple crab cakes in there. I just would like to have seen more pitching added. I don't trust Dean Kramer at all. Right. Like, if we're going for a championship like we allege to be doing, I don't feel like Dean Kramer can be one of those guys who can, pitch on the road, in the playoffs and get a win.
Well, I don't think Dean Kramer is, as the team is currently constructed, would be asked to do that. Right? Like he's the 5th starter on this team, which is where I think he actually has some value. Where he's a guy, he can go out there and he's inconsistent.
He's not an
Is
innings
it a guarantee that he's in the rotation? Because there's 5 other names on this team that I feel like could
There's a
slot
lot
in
of
there.
talk about the Orioles going 6-man.
Okay. That makes sense
and
because you've got Bradish, you've got Bassett, you've got Eflin, you got Rogers, and you got Shane Baz.
Yeah.
Like that's 5 other names that I think any of them could be as good or better than Dean Kramer.
I agree.
So like maybe you go 6, but either way, like as you were saying, I don't think Kramer is going to be asked to be that for the Orioles.
I hope not.
And he's to say he's not an innings eater though. He's the only guy the Orioles have had that consistently gets you 170 plus innings a year. So, what else do you call that?
I mean,
Like, I'm not saying he's
He
good.
strikes me as a guy who's standing out there looking baffled that the ball keeps zooming over the fence.
I mean, yeah, he has plenty of outings like that. There's no doubt. But my issue with this pitching staff, honestly, is more about the bullpen because I think there's major problems there. Ryan Helsley's a nice addition. That is a good guy to have as your closer.
I think Andrew Kitchers is a solid addition too.
But we had him last year, and we traded him away at the deadline, and he wasn't very good. I mean,
Wasn't he hurt last year?
He was
like
hurt,
never
so
played.
that's a concern for him. So if he's healthy, yes, that's another nice guy. But Keegan Bacon getting as much playing time as he does has just been frustrating for the last 2 seasons. And Yennier Cano, who was an all-star a few years ago, had just a terrible 2025, and they seem like they're relying on him to bounce back.
Well, they're going to have to with Felix Bautista being out for the year. Like he's going to have to bounce back for this
Bautista's
bullpen
out
to be.
again
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
So, but the starting pitching, a lot of ifs here. Like Bradish, when he's healthy, again, that's a big prepositional phrase there. He's excellent and has been for 3 years. Whenever he's on the mound, he's been great. But he's coming off of Tommy John. He was great last year when he pitched briefly as he returned from Tommy John. So can he carry that over? Maybe. There's probably a pretty good chance he could, but he might not. Trevor Rogers had a tremendous year last year. He's pitched well in the spring this year.
Named opening day starter.
Can he carry that over? It's distinctly possible, but it's not a safe bet. Shane Baz has an injury history, but a lot of potential. Could he pop off? Yes, absolutely. Will he? I don't know. So
last year he got that knuckle curve and it was popping.
And he could only not pitch when he was pitching in a minor league stadium, as playing for the Rays. So there is that. The splits are insane. So the rotation might be better than, but we just don't know. It's got potential to be excellent, but it's also got potential to not be very good, and we just don't know. The offense is going to have to power this team.
Also, got a new manager this year.
The offense has to bounce back this year because you had some guys, some big names who really just Adley and Jackson Holiday were not very good last year offensively, and they're going to have to pick it back up at the plate because we know what they're capable of doing. We've seen it before for both of them.
Are we with Jackson Holiday? He's 22. Last year was his first full season in Major League Baseball,
and he's hurt already.
Yeah, he's potential. but he hasn't delivered it yet. But
Not over the course of a whole season, at least.
And Adley certainly has, he has to figure it out because he's projected to be the second best player on this team behind Gunnar Henderson.
This is why we drafted Adley 1-1.
Yeah.
Like this is your time to shine now. We got a new manager, Craig Albernaz.
Seems like I like him so far.
I mean, everybody says all the right things, in the preseason and off season, but is he gonna be benching Gunnar Henderson and Jackson Holiday against a lefty starter?
I seriously doubt it. I don't think that's gonna happen. So. Last on the Orioles before I move on, we have too many corner outfielders and not enough center fielders. I think that's the biggest miss of the offseason is we're going into this year relying on Colton Cowser to be your everyday center fielder. One, Cowser is a very, very good corner outfielder defensively. Center field, adequate at best. Number two, Colton Cowser can't hit. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's like, he can't hit lefties. He can't hit anybody.
He can't hit against pitchers with arms.
Yeah, he can't hit when the pitcher hits him. He still strikes out in the playoffs with the bases loaded in a tie game that you have to win or else you're done. Never forgive him. I'll never forgive him for that.
I'll never forgive him for sliding into first base and breaking his thumb in the opening week.
Yeah, it's funny because he broke his hand basically twice in 2 games.
God.
It's just like it's
belly flop into first base. Yeah. You idiot.
Yeah. So
you allegedly went to college. Seemed like they would have taught you something over there.
Yeah. Well, he needs to step it up, or else he can leave at any point because unacceptable performance.
Who should the Orioles have gotten to play center field?
I wanted Cody Bellinger real bad.
He's a good center field.
He can play center field. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would have been a really good signing.
Would you have settled for bringing back Cedric Mullins?
No.
Okay.
I love Seti, but no. Okay. Seti's cooked. All right, let's move on to these other teams real quick because we obviously we knew we would spend more time on our teams, so let's blow through some of these other AL East teams. The Boston Red Sox, they were pretty good last year, made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they've added to their team, improved their rotation, which is already excellent, and they figured to potentially have between their bullpen and their rotation, maybe this might be the best pitching staff in all of baseball this year. Like they have real deal starters. Sonny Gray. They traded for Garrett Crochet last year. Yeah, they acquired Ranger Suarez.
Yep, they have Brian Bello back.
Yeah, they have excellent pitching up and down. Their bullpen's great too.
Don't forget Danny Coulomb.
Yeah, love me some Danny Coulomb.
Yeah.
But this team's going to be carried by their pitching because their offense looks a little shaky. Like Roman Anthony's the only bat in that lineup that intimidates me.
Yeah, they brought Wilson Contreras in for first base. I think that's a solid signing in the offseason. Caleb Durbin could be good, but they lost Alex Bregman, and that's potentially a pretty big loss for them.
An all-star. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, the pitching top to bottom. I don't know if they necessarily have the best rotation in baseball. I don't know if they have the best bullpen in baseball, but when you combine the two, I think that there's definitely the argument to be made that this is the best all-around pitching staff in baseball. And it's going to have to be because, the offense has some holes in it that are going to lead to some slumps where, when the top guys aren't hitting, they're not going to be scoring a lot of runs, and you're going to have to rely on the pitchers getting through 9 innings, giving up 3 or fewer runs.
Yep. Evan, anything interesting or fun?
I mean, who are the bats on this Red Sox team, right? They don't have Devers anymore. They don't have Bregman anymore. Is it Trevor Story?
Yeah, they have Trevor Story on this roster.
Is he going to play double-digit
games? They have Jaron Duran and Roman Anthony, who are solid bats. But, once you get past them, it's
thin.
Yeah.
It's just not a whole lot of thumping.
Not horrible, but not exciting either.
No.
Yeah, like this. Just scrolling through their roster just now, but maybe some of these guys will emerge. But Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, your boy Corey, is here.
IKF.
Yeah.
Kind of blew the World Series last year for the Blue Jays. Loafing running home.
Oh.
Anyway, let's finish up with the Rays. My notes on the Rays is that this lineup is thoroughly mediocre. Not a whole lot to write home about here. They got Yandy Diaz, and that's kind of it, I guess. The rotation's a little iffy. Like they got a bullpen. That's kind of it. Like what else do they have that's good?
They got the roof at the Trop got fixed. Like that.
They got
nice.
that. Yeah, I mean, additions to this team aren't really that exciting. Gavin Lux, Cedric Mullins, and Jake Fraley. Their losses though aren't really that serious, other than Shane Baz to Baltimore. Like that's probably the biggest loss they had this offseason. They lost Adrian Hauser to the Giants and Pete Fairbanks to the Marlins, but neither of them are like major difference makers. I think that this team is going to be competitive record-wise on the whole. I think that they're still a good baseball team in general, but they're going to be a bad AL East team.
Right.
Like this team should finish last in this division. Like every other team, if they actually played anywhere close to their potential, will beat this team in the division. And yet this is a team that is probably going to finish close to 500.
Yeah, what I wrote down as my bottom line was figured to be worst team in a tough division, but don't count out the Orioles. So,
Yeah, don't put it past the Orioles for
they did it last year.
being mired in eternal suckitude.
Yes. All right. So let's jump over to the NL real quick because we got about 10 minutes before we got to get out of here. So let's start with the Phillies. 96 and 66 last year, won the division. But they took some hits this year. They lost Kyle Schwarber. They lost Ranger Suarez.
Yeah.
But still plenty of talented players, and they added Adolis Garcia, which could potentially add some homers to that lineup.
They're going to need to because they also lost Nick Castellanos.
Oh boy.
And
Yeah.
in what will potentially continue to be a tumultuous year in America, he probably would have hit a lot of dingers for them.
Tumultuous. Let's hope it's just tumultuous.
Yeah. Take that. Anyway.
They brought in Adolis Garcia, though.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid addition for them.
I called him Adolis. I called him Adolis. I was like, I don't actually know how to say this dude's name.
Dulles Airport.
And then they brought in some bullpen arms, the most significant of them being Brad Keller.
Yeah. I mean, and their rotation's really good. Like, it still is.
Yeah.
They still got Zach Wheeler. They still got Aaron Nola.
Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah.
You said they lost Kyle Schwarber.
Jesus Luzardo.
Did they not lose Kyle Schwarber?
No, they re-signed him.
Why did I not see him on their... I must have missed him.
Yeah, he's there
My
for me.
bad. Well,
But yeah,
then
no, I mean,
ignore that.
you got Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Bohm, Garcia now in there, Marsh, Real Muto, Bryson Stott, Justin Crawford. Like,
It's a good team.
this might be
Yeah.
the best like lineup in baseball.
They're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's
that's
a
a
fireworks show.
really good lineup top to bottom. They're going to be a good offensive team.
And this is a team that spends money. Like we talked about other teams not doing so much. The Phillies have leaned into spending money. They spent money to get Bryce Harper, what was actually a long time ago now. That was back in 2019. And then they've also spent money on Trey Turner. They gave Kyle Schwarber a bunch of money to keep him around. So like they're doing the thing, and that puts them in the position where they're favored, or at least co-favorites, to win this division with the New York Mets. Except the New York Mets shouldn't be co-favored to be favorites to win anything because they're the Mets, and they always screw this up. So
The Mets will always disappoint.
their rotation's not even good.
No.
Like their rotation stinks. I think it's mediocre.
They have Clay Holmes in
Your
their
boy,
rotation
yeah.
projected.
They gave him
like,
a bunch of money to be a starter. Like that's weird.
I'm sorry if the only names that pop out at me are Freddie Peralta and Kodai Senga, and neither of them.
They're good. But
Yeah,
they're not special.
right.
Like,
Notable acquisitions include Craig Kimbrell and Mike Talkman.
well, that's not what you want.
No.
And Devin Williams is there.
Devin Williams and Marcus
Yep.
Semion's here.
Yeah, the
Luis
whole,
Robert Jr. I feel like he's
They got Bichette.
could be great, but like
They got Polanco.
hasn't been.
Jorge Polanco's a solid player.
yeah, and they still have Juan Soto and Frankie Lindor. I mean, they've got outstanding
The
players.
the
all
offense
over,
is
yeah.
good.
Yes.
The offense should be good. They honestly might have too many good players on offense, to actually put in the lineup every day.
Okay.
That sounds like a good problem to have.
It is to an extent, but it also means that you're going to have a lot of players who are potentially upset with their lack of playing time because you got too many mouths to feed. That is probably going to lead to some unrest within that clubhouse.
Unrest and dysfunction with the Mets?
Never heard of that.
Never.
Right? Like didn't their manager
But that's exactly why I say like it's not necessarily a good problem to have, especially when you're the Mets, and they always find a way to Mets it up.
Yeah, there's a title.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's move on to the
Yeah,
Braves,
no idea
unless you
who's-
got something else.
no idea who's pitching with this Mets team. They should
Frank
have
Peralta. That's it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that's it.
All right, let's talk Braves.
Another colossal disappointment from 2025.
The Atlanta Braves feel like they're a team whose window is slowly but surely creeping shut. Like, they won the World Series in 2021, and it's just kind of been, high expectations every year, but those expectations have declined as the Phillies have risen. Hell, even as the Mets have risen, because we make fun of the Mets. The Mets were a playoff team last year, so it's not like this is just, this is not an easy street in this division anymore. The Phillies and the Mets are legitimately trying to win, and they've kind of horned in on the Braves' territory here, but the Braves are still a very, very good team. They've still got a lot of talent, Harris, Riley, and Acuna in your lineup, and that's, and then they've still got solid players everywhere else, and I like this team a lot, except for their rotation, because they're following a trend of not even the Atlanta Braves, because they weren't in Atlanta yet, but we talked about Spawn and Sane and Pray for Rain. Well, they've got Sale and Strider, and that's it. Like, it's the rest of it's pretty
Pray
much
for Rain.
nothing. Yes.
Yeah, they have a few arms in the bullpen. I really like Tyler Kinley. He has really good stuff. His movement pitches, his slider, and his curveball are practically unhittable. Like, he was near, if not at the top of Major League Baseball last year in hard hit rate allowed, and he had a very good whiff rate too. Like, so he has elite stuff. But you have to get to him in the bullpen, and he's not going to pitch every day either. So they're going to have to rely on the rotation to outperform what we're expecting, which is going to be tough. Because as you said, there's really only two names there that are particularly exciting.
And one of them is Chris Sale, who's turning 36 in a couple weeks.
But he did win the Cy Young, was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like he's older, but he's had recent success as an older pitcher. So
Did the Braves remember to feed him this offseason? Is he looking emaciated still?
And not presenting him with ugly jerseys for him to cut up in the clubhouse?
I mean, the Braves seem like they're kind of, I don't know, not as Native American-y as they used to be. They're slowly retreating from that. So
Yeah. They brought Mike Yastrzemski in.
Mike Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
He's a solid player. They also got your boy Jorge Mateo.
Oh,
He's with the Braves now.
Oh, mi hermano is on the Braves? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I missed his name.
But Acuna, Olsen, Riley, Profar, Albies, like, these are all good names. Michael Harris II, like, all very good names who have not been consistent, who have not been hot at the same time, who have not all been healthy at the same time for the
Acuna
past
needs
couple
to
of
stay
years
healthy.
in particular. So it's a very talent-heavy team that has the potential to disappoint every bit as much as it has the last 2 years.
Jonah Heim is here.
Yeah, they brought him in to be the backup catcher because Murphy just had surgery. So I think they're expecting Drake Baldwin to be their starting catcher, but Heim will get a good number of starts, I'm sure.
Yeah, Drake Baldwin's a promising young player for them. I think this is a wild card contender, but we'll see. I think that
That's probably their ceiling,
the Mets,
unfortunately,
the
because
Mets
this is a
on
fun team.
paper are probably better. I have to emphasize on paper with the Mets.
Yeah.
And the Phillies, I have way more trust in them at this point.
The Braves are a team that I would really like to see do well, especially now that Marcell Ozuna is no longer there.
It's helpful.
But yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Ozuna is...
We talked about him last week, so he
Yeah.
went to one of the Centrals.
one of those teams we don't care about.
Yeah.
Was it the Pirates?
He
I
went
don't
to the Pirates, yes.
Okay,
1 year deal as their DH.
All right, so fortunately for the Braves, they've got some easy W's coming up on their schedule because they get to play the Marlins and the Nats a bunch. So let's talk Marlins first. I wrote down
Marlins.
a whole lot of mid.
Have you ever met a Marlins fan? Because I have.
I did. I know a Marlins fan, yeah.
Oh,
It's been a long time since I've seen him, but I'm assuming he still roots for the Marlins. But he did root for the Marlins when I was friends with him.
okay.
So anyway, the only notables I had here was Alcantara returned to form ? Because he had a great season, won the Cy Young, but then he got hurt and he's been kind of bad since. And Evan, your boy Pete Fairbanks is here.
Why was he my boy?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to say my boy, the blonde kid who went to Stanford, whose name I can't
Kyle
remember.
Stowers.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's there, but you couldn't remember Kyle Stowers' name.
It wasn't coming to me, okay?
Corey, anything fun about the Marlins?
Um,
Don't.
Connor
I
Norby's
like Xavier
here.
Edwards. I think he's a good player. They had Kyle Sowers, who played pretty well last year. They got your guy Connor Norby.
Got my boy Connor Norby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's Norbin time.
But yeah, I mean, the rotation. Alcantara hasn't been that guy in several years now. Yeah. Yuri Perez, I think, is a pretty good player. But then you have like Braxton Garrett, Chris Paddock, solid players, but not that special. So, this team is going to be mid. Might be kind. We'll see what happens, but I think this team mid might be their ceiling.
I wrote down a whole lot of mid when assessing their lineup, and then I finished with team sucks. So.
Are they going to remember to close the roof when it starts raining down there? Because that happened.
Well, the Marlins can thank the Nats for not being the worst team in the National League this year, because this dumpster fire of a team still exists.
And they've still won the World Series more recently than the Orioles.
Yes, they did. And
we talked 2 weeks ago about the Colorado Rockies. I think they might be better than the Nats.
I think that's your race to the bottom right there. Those are your main, and them and the White Sox are like, that's your 3 horses for worst team in baseball, I think. Good God, this team is just like, and it's hilarious to me when I saw when they traded Mackenzie Gore to the Rangers, right? That's
for 5 minor leaguers.
Yeah, for a bunch of minor leaguers. And so because Mackenzie Gore was acquired in the Juan Soto trade, but the Padres 3 years ago, they were using the new players they acquired from Mackenzie Gore as part of the Juan Soto package to say, now look how great the package is. I'm like, yeah, you're going to be saying that for 50 more years.
Because you're going to trade those guys,
and
too.
And y'all are still going to lose 110 games every year.
Yeah, you're going to turn Juan Soto into 1,000 players.
We've got literally 1,000 players in our history, and
you're not going to have an 82-win season.
Like, how embarrassing is it that you trade Juan Soto to kick off your rebuild, and then you had to rebuild again and get rid of the players you got for him, or one of them at least. I mean, their only good players are, in fact, the players they got for Juan Soto. Because they got C.J. Abrams in the Juan Soto trade, and they got
the draft
James
pick
Wood.
Because they drafted James Wood, right? Or did they get him from the Padres?
They got the Padres drafted him and traded him.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, and then they have Dylan Cruz as a potential guy who they got with a very early pick. That's it. Everybody else sucks on this team.
Yeah,
like
this is a bad lineup. This is a horrible rotation.
Oh, dude, the bullpen is the best part.
The bullpen. I don't even know a single one of these names.
There's someone called Clayton Beater here.
So, all right. So for the Nats bullpen, something I've noticed when I was looking at FanGraphs,
PJ Poulin.
they have their projected innings leader for the bullpen is also projected to have a negative .5 WAR.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I've never seen that before. I've never seen a team supposedly have their bullpen horse, so to speak, be that bad.
I mean,
you couldn't scrounge up one decent pitcher that can throw one inning.
This is
every 3
me
games,
like 07 Orioles vibes, like just one of the worst teams ever assembled.
Oh goodness!
Yeah. They might lose by 27 runs.
So my last thought on the Nats, as I was just sifting through all this stool, so I said, fortunes of getting back-to-back number 1 overall picks with generational talents coming in the draft has given this organization undeserved clout. They are an abysmal franchise. Abysmal in all caps.
And I also don't like how corporate their stadium vibe is.
That's been a complaint since it got built, really.
Yeah,
it looks like an office building.
I enjoy going to games at Nats Park, but it does feel pretty corporate.
The one thing I like about Nats Park, I like the walk-up concourse, like coming from left field. I think that's pretty cool. But other than that, I got not a whole lot of.
You mean between the giant parking garages?
Yeah, that's the Geico garage blocking my view of the Capitol and the mall and all that stuff. Great choice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That does it for our Major League Baseball preview of the East Divisions. We'll be back next week to give you a little info on who we think is going to do what and win what and who knows. But opening day is on Thursday. I think opening night is on Wednesday. Is that a thing?
I think it's Yankees and Giants.
I prefer they all just start on the same day. But that's just me. That's just me being get off my lawn type of guy. All right. That does it for our show. Do we have shout-outs before we get rolling?
So I have a couple. One is actually from YouTube. We had a comment today.
Oh, nice.
From at Joe Dowson.
Like
Dawson.
tonight.
Or Dawson.
That's my guy.
That's your
work.
guy? Okay, from work. He asked, what does chalky mean? So if you're still listening, Joe, chalky just means that you basically picked all the higher seeds for the most part to win their games. So it's mostly used within the context of the NCAA tournament, though it can be used in just about any tournament context.
It comes from horse racing.
Right. It comes from horse racing and picking the favorites. So that's pretty much all there is to it. All right. So my shout out is to the 100 and some odd million Americans who had everything to say about rising gas prices a few years ago after Russia invaded Ukraine, something that was not at all the fault of anybody within our government, but has been exhibiting radio silence for the past 3 weeks as gas prices have risen by almost $1 per gallon. So shout out to you guys for your absolute idiocracy.
That's a movie.
It is a movie.
All right.
Alrighty.
Corey turned his shout out into a mini rant. But all right. Evan, what do you got?
I mean, shout out to all the workers at Carowinds. Y'all are the real MVPs, having to put up with this brand new fast lane foolishness. Just all the regular people just working their little job. On opening day, it's got to be difficult. Hopefully, there weren't too many Disney mom types. And shout out to my friend Nick, who actually met me at Carowinds, and we had a great time.
Nice.
And Fury was hauling like usual.
Glad to hear it. My shout out is to my dad, Fred Meyer, because my dad in 3 days is turning 70 years old.
All right. Happy birthday.
So happy birthday, Dad. We're going to have a good time on Saturday. Go get some good food. Finally watch Stranger Things Season 5 because we haven't had yet. We haven't had time to gather and actually, to sit down and watch it. So
Your dad didn't want to go to King's Dominion?
Enjoy. It's a ride of several feature-length films.
So my dad did want to go to Universal Studios this week, though, for his birthday. But
Smart man.
It was insanely expensive to go at that time.
Spring break season.
Yeah, exactly. So
And
Sure.
Stardust is
Airline
closed.
prices are probably also skyrocketing with the gas prices too, by the way.
Yes, I'm aware.
yeah.
Someone who's trying to book flights to a bajillion different places. I see the prices keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
So next week we might have to go Wednesday again. Just,
Okay.
it'll be opening night, but that's okay.
Well, the Orioles
We
don't
usually
play
watch
till
Yeah, you guys
baseball
don't-
in there
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah,
That's
that's
true.
We get distracted.
Oh, we
so-
will definitely be having some baseball on in here
All right.
this season.
Well, that does it for our show. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any feedback for us, you can reach us at thesportsballers@gmail.com. You can get this podcast on YouTube watching live, or you can get it on Apple or Spotify as well. You can follow us on Twitter. We are at SportsBallers18, and you can follow us individually. None of us really tweet that much anymore at all, but
Here and there.
on the occasions you might see a retweet or two come from me. I am at Quagmire67, Corey is at Corey Puffett, and Evan is at Evan_Ash13. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will, again, finish off our baseball preview next week and maybe talk a little bit of some of the things we saw in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, if Evan is paying any attention to that, which he won't be. And maybe even some other news about basketball. Do we still talk about basketball, like NBA basketball here?
What did Draymond Green do this time?
Not a whole lot. But whatever happens, we'll have it here. Until then, take it easy.